We're gonna get started in a second. Bear with me, Israel.
Recently injured in a car accident.
Shalom, Israel. Yahba Shem Al Shah Brak a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar a thumb by Shem Al Shah to the sisters. I'm Priest Officer Karan Yah of the ISUBK under Commander General Yana. It is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class streaming on ISUBK Sacramento as well as ISUPK Oakland, YouTube, and Facebook. Right. So I'm gonna just get straight into the topic. Right. As you can tell by the title, we're gonna be talking about compassion. You understand? Black people, Latinos, Native Indians, you understand, us living in this empire, right? That's controlled by the devil that the Bible speaks of. We have been taught to lack compassion, you understand, on our own people. DK, Yahba Shemal Shabrakatah, the water for tuning in. I appreciate you. You understand? But we have been taught to lack compassion on our own people. And you see it every day in the news. You understand? One brother unalives another brother because of, the norm, right? Somebody might owe a brother money. You understand? Brothers bickering back and forth on social media, right? Gang violence, being from a different side of town, right? Growing up in an opposite neighborhood as another brother that grew up in poverty just like you. All of these scenarios are the reasons why Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians unalive each other day to day, right? And the underlying factor is we have been taught to have no compassion on our people by ultimately by the oppressor, you understand? But on a smaller level, the Christian church has taught us to have no compassion on our people. You understand? They tend to tell you when you bring up slavery, for brothers at camp talking about slavery and all of this type of stuff, right? They tend to tell you, oh, you need to let go and let God, or that was so long ago, or you need to forgive the oppressor. You understand? Meanwhile, in the Christian church, they don't teach you to have compassion on your brothers and sisters. You understand? They teach you to woman, thou art loose. You understand? Or to kick the brother out the house. You understand? They don't teach you to go to a brother and to him alone when you got an issue with a brother and talk out your problems. You understand? And even on a bigger level, right? Many a times, right? You don't have a music industry, right? Where Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians thrive off of performing music that talks about uplifting the Black community. It's the complete opposite. You understand? This is why drill and that type of genre of music is thriving in these times, because the oppressor wants us to continue his agenda, which is not having compassion on each other and ultimately unaliving each other, right? Now you see what just happened with the brother Tory Lanez, right, out here in California, and in one of these prisons out here, right? The brother was stabbed, what they say, like 14 times, right? This brother almost lost his life. His lung collapsed, all of that type of stuff. You understand? And the background of the brother, because this was another brother that tried to end his life. You understand? The background of that brother is atrocious. You understand? The reason why he got life in prison was him unaliving a young 13-year-old girl who he was in an intimate relationship with when he was over the age of 18. You understand? But this dude attempts to take Tory Lanez' life, right? And when Tory Lanez is fighting for his life in critical condition, Black sisters, Latino sisters, Native Indian sisters, they put up a GoFundMe for the person that stabbed up Tory Lanez and raised, at the time when I seen it, it was about $2,000. I'm sure there's more because they don't have no compassion on Tory Lanez because they think he's guilty. You understand? Which, if he's guilty or not, we don't know the answer to that. That's not even the point here. The point is, the brother didn't deserve to be almost unalive. You understand? Due to him, allegedly discharging a firearm and hitting Meg Thee Stallion in the foot. Right? These sisters didn't have no compassion on him. They would have rather seen Tory Lanez lose his life just because this sister was allegedly assaulted. You understand? By Tory Lanez. But this ain't how we rise as a people. You understand? Your oppressor conquered this country by having no compassion at all. You understand? Like, when the oppressor had the children of Israel in physical slavery, they did the most atrocious acts to a people and throughout human history. You understand? Unaliving the Native Indians to the tune of 77 million. You understand? It's estimated that 100 million so-called blacks, you understand, Haitians, Jamaicans, you understand, it's estimated that over 100 million of our brothers and sisters from the Southern Kingdom lost their lives during the transatlantic slave trade, right? Not to mention the unspeakable acts that was done to children, right? The feeble in our nation, the elders, right? As a matter of fact, let me pull a scripture real quick. Deuteronomy 28 and 50. So I'm gonna put it up here. Bear with me. And when you look at the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, most of these verses are the curses of the children of Israel, which shall befall us for disobeying the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments. So let me share my screen. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Salakia, quick technical difficulty. Excuse me. If y'all can hear me, put ones in the chat for me, Baba Kasha. Salakia. Let me make sure my sound is too loud. sound is too loud. Okay, Most High Christ. Hey, the water DK, I appreciate it. Salaki. But this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of the Shalaki, shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. You understand? That's your oppressor. Your oppressor don't give a damn how old you are or how young you are. You understand? He will unalive you if you are an elderly lady or a toddler playing with a toy gun. He don't give a damn about you. You understand? And us as Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, we got to wipe off of the characteristics of our oppressor that we've learned through the Christian church. You understand? I'm going to go to Proverbs 3 and 31 real quick. Because in this Christian church, right, of course, when you look at white supremacy, right, that picture of white Jesus is white supremacy. And subconsciously, this is the man that you're going to look up to, right? When you think of being righteous, because you think God is righteous, you think Jesus is righteous. But in actuality, that same Caucasian image that you see on them church walls, the only real image of a Caucasian person that you see is the reality of them. And the reality of Caucasians are they're the devil that the Bible speaks of. So in us believing in white supremacy, as far as what Christianity has taught us, the images or the characteristics of white men is to not have compassion on Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Us being trodden down in this empire and us being an abused and oppressed people, right? We believe that our only way to get ahead in life is to conduct ourselves like the Caucasian man. And in turn, we're going to do exactly just that. We're going to put on his characteristics. We're going to put on his culture. We're going to put on his morals. You understand? And what his characteristics has taught us throughout history is he doesn't give a damn about Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? You see it with the history of not just this country, but of the world. You understand? Going back as far as Jacob and Esau. You understand? The Lord gave dominion over the whole planet Earth. You understand? Eventually to Jacob and his descendants, right? But Esau, being a vile, evil bastard, right? And tried to blame Esau being a vile, evil bastard, trying to place the blame on Jacob, you understand, for receiving the blessing that he got from their father. You understand? He tried to take it in his own hands to actually unalive his own brother because he has no compassion on anybody on planet Earth except for himself, right? And that's what Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians have been taught throughout society, right? Not even just this empire. We was taught this during the Greek Empire too. You understand? Being a lustful, gluttonous pig, right? Because when you consult to the religion of your oppressor, and this is what his religion consists of, then automatically you tend to do exactly what your oppressor does, because in hindsight, you see that it's working for your oppressor, and you being the oppressed want to get out of being oppressed by any means necessary. Even if that means having no compassion on your people and dealing with your own brothers and sisters, how your oppressor have dealt with you for thousands of years. You understand? But Salakia, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. We shouldn't be envious of our oppressor. You understand? When you become envious of the people that put you in chains, the people that put you in slavery, the people that unalived our forefathers and our grandmothers, the people that cut our feet off, the people that cut our rods off, you understand? The people that hung us from trees, that had picnics and burnt us at the stake. When you become envious of those people because of the power that they have over you, and you understand how they obtain that power over you, you turn into a criminal against your own people. You understand? When you envious of your oppressor, And I'm speaking specifically to blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indian young men. You understand? When you look at the history of the mafia, the history of gangs, right? The history of kingpin drug dealers. You understand? Because being a drug dealer didn't start with the cartels. It didn't start with excuse me, it didn't start with people like Frank Lucas. You understand? Felix Mitchell. It didn't start with none of these brothers. It didn't start with brothers like Rayful Edmond. You understand? And a slew of other kingpin drug dealers that grew up in these inner cities. It didn't start with them, right? It started with people like Lucky Luciano. It started with the Opium Wars. You understand? Back during the 1800s, right? When the oppressor oppressed the Chinese people by releasing a highly addictive drug just to make money off their people and keep them strung out as addicts. That's where it started. You understand? With wanting to be like your oppressor, right? As far as like in the more recent society of the oppressor being who he is, right? It started back then, right? So when you envy your oppressor, you take on what he does. Our young brothers out here in the ghettos, in the barrios, you understand, on the reservations. We look at the history of the oppressor being a successful drug dealer, him being a successful gangster. You understand? Him being a successful pimp. Yeah, brothels, whorehouses. Yeah, Caucasian men owned them before us. You understand? Before we was calling our own sisters 304s. Yeah, the Caucasian woman was the first promiscuous 304 in history. You understand? But when we look at the history of these type of lifestyles and us being in poverty in our own neighborhoods, and they push the propaganda to us like you less than if you go without, right? This is what forms the envy and jealousy that you have for your oppressor, and it forces you to want to be like your oppressor. So when this type of stuff happens, right, seeing that your oppressor was successful in his criminal activities over the centuries, you look at how he did it. And a key part of how he did it was not having compassion on blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So in turn, what he did was he was able to make build an empire, right, off of not giving a damn about blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And the Lord don't want that for us. You understand? Because when you envy your oppressor and you seek to be like him, then your compassion for your own people becomes null and void, and you will do anything to your own kind in order to be successful in the business endeavors of your oppressor, right? Proverbs 3:31 from the top. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. The Lord don't want you to be a drug dealer. You understand? Because when you're a drug dealer, you don't give a damn about that young brother or young sister whose mother spent the last check, the last couple dollars out of her check on her getting high. You understand? Instead of feeding her children. You don't give a damn about them children starving, right? A brother that envies the oppressor and wants to be like him and being a pimp, right? You don't give a damn about this sister being taken advantage of as a young girl, and this is the reason why she chooses this way of lifestyle. You understand? You don't give a damn about her being, taken advantage of, and that poor child that she was when she got taken advantage of. And this is the reason why she's living this lifestyle. You don't care about none of that. The reason why you care about none of that is because you want to be just like the oppressor. The oppressor don't give a damn about what trauma that you went through. You understand? The oppressor wants to make money off of you. The oppressor don't give a damn about you not having nothing at home and you had to go steal a slice of bread just to eat. You understand? For the day. The oppressor don't give a damn about none of that. He gonna bust your head wide open if he catch you in a traffic stop. You understand? After you got away, right, with stealing that piece of bread trying to feed your family. He not gonna come out his pocket and peel off a couple dollars in order for you to feed your family or try to look out for you in the long run to make sure that you can help out your family. Now, he don't care about none of that. He has no compassion on you. And us as a people, we have to understand that the way of the oppressor is to have no compassion. You understand? Hey, Shalom, sir. Yabba Shema Shabrakatah. The water for tapping in. I appreciate it. Nazamana. Shalom, sis. Y'all Shemal Lataba Shemi Awashai, sis. The water for tapping in. I appreciate it. You understand? But Salakia, let me get another script. Okay. Salakia, y'all bear with me. I gotta go through these notes real quick. Go to Ephesians 4:32. This is the book of Ephesians, Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 32. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as the Most High, for Christ's sakes, hath forgiven you. You understand? That's what we lack in the black community. We lack compassion. You understand? We lack being kind towards each other. We lack you know, we lack caring about each other, right? When you look at what's going on in the black community today, it's heartbreaking how far we've come from our actual culture. You understand? Back during the times when we didn't have the oppressor over us, and of course, Israel, we fumbled the ball many times throughout history. That's why the Lord had to check us and put us in slavery so many times. But when we do have it right, and we do understand that we're supposed to have compassion and brotherhood and sisterhood on each other, you won't have drill music. You understand? You won't have 1 million abortions a year, because sisters would give a damn about the little baby, you understand, that deserves a chance to live, right? You wouldn't have brothers throwing sisters away, because they would understand that, man, I wouldn't want somebody to throw my daughter away. I wouldn't want somebody to have their way with my little baby girl and just throw her away like she's a piece of garbage. You understand? All of these factors in the black community, you understand, that it ultimately ends in somebody unaliving somebody, or somebody going down a dangerous path in life. All of this comes from us having lack of compassion on each other. The Christian church is the greatest place to have lack of compassion on your own people. You understand? Brothers and sisters are getting taken advantage of, you understand, intimately in these Christian churches like you wouldn't believe, right? And who they learning from? The oppressor. You understand? The Roman Catholic Church is the biggest, I gotta choose my words wisely. It's the biggest child, it's the biggest it's the biggest institution where someone can take advantage of a child intimately and receive no consequences. You understand? This Pope that just died not too long ago, right? The Roman Catholic Church, like you see it pop up all the time on news feeds. You understand? The Roman Catholic Church is paid what? The Roman Catholic Church paid billions of dollars. Matter of fact, let me look up the numbers. The Roman Catholic Church pays money to victims that have been taken advantage of. I probably won't even get it. Wow, hold on. I'm about to read all of this stuff that the Roman Catholic Church has dished out money for doing. It says yes. It says yes. The Roman Catholic Church has paid settlements to victims of clergy sexual abuse, which means they have been violated. You understand? Or essayed, right, by the people who work at the Roman Catholic Church and other forms of exploitation. Extensive settlements. Catholic dioceses, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, across the United States have paid billions of dollars to victims of clergy abuse. Financial compensation. These settlements aim to compensate victims for the harm they suffer. Nah, them settlements are aimed to compensate victims to keep them quiet. You understand? Beyond SA. While much of the reporting focuses on SA settlements, compensation may also be provided in cases of other forms of exploitation. You understand? So not only are they taking advantage of children, right? Intimately, these people are basically robbing their congregation blind. You understand? And then turning around, damn, Salakia, sis. In New Orleans, it was 62.5 million. Good night. Good night. And they're not paying these people because they give a damn. You understand? They paying these people to keep you quiet. That's crazy. $62 million in one city? Come on, man. I don't even think the budget for schools is that much out here in Oakland, California. That's crazy. You understand? But this is the way of your oppressor, to have no compassion on people. So what he's going to do, he's going to have his way with you intimately, spiritually. You understand? Like, yeah, that's crazy. 62.5 million just in settlements. And I'm sure, like I just read, most of it was about SA. You understand? Your oppressor is an evil, diabolical bastard. You understand? And the Lord don't want us to be like him, because what you gonna get when you be like him? You go get the Black Christian Church, which is just the baby brother of the Roman Catholic Church that chose all of the oppressor's ways. You understand? Your pastor, he robbing the church blind. You understand? He messing with them young girls in that church. Ooh, wait. Just in New Orleans alone. Whew. Come on, man. Man, look, the sister said they paid out $62.5 million just in New Orleans alone. Archdiocese, is that how you pronounce it, sis? I'm guessing that's the name of the church. Your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Clear as day. You understand? Salakia. In Mark 6:34. This is the book of Mark, chapter 6 and verse 34. You know, and Yahushua went, and Yahushua, when he came out, saw much people and was moved with compassion towards them. He was like, Christ was looking at his people that came to hear him speak. You understand? And he seen what was going on with the children of Israel during his time when we was up under the Romans. And it was the same thing that was going on here. You understand? You had the ghetto. You understand? You had brothers and sisters being oppressed, right? You had these Edomites that ruled over us with an iron fist that had no compassion over the children of Israel. And Christ knew it. You understand? Right? I'm reading from the top again. And Yahushua, when he came out, saw much people and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as a sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. They was as sheep that had no shepherd. You understand? If you see a sheep that has no shepherd, a sheep needs a shepherd to guide him. You understand? Away from trouble. You understand? To keep him on the straight and narrow path. The shepherd has to care for this sheep. The shepherd has to groom this sheep, cut the wool off of it just so it don't become one big fur ball, and it can't be able to move. You understand? It has to take the sheep out so it can graze, so it can get some nutrients, some nourishment for its body. You understand? Archdiocese, archdiocese is how it's pronounced. Okay, kind sister water. Damn. And it's crazy too, because when how you just put it in the chat, sis, right? And I'm gonna leave that up there for a minute. Archdiocese. That Roman Catholic Church is literally pushing death on blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? Because that's all you see that's all you see when it comes to our people indulging in Christianity or Catholicism, which is one and the same thing. You understand? You're gonna see your people die. You understand? And it's just evil as hell. Salakia. Mark 6:34 from the top. And Yahushua, when he came out, saw much people and was moved with compassion towards them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. You understand? Christ looked at the children of Israel and seeing that we were sheep without no shepherd. You understand? We are people that had no guidance, nobody to steer us away from danger. You understand? We didn't have anybody telling us that we're supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? These Sadducees and Pharisees was too busy getting rich off of the children of Israel being exploited by these goddamn Romans. And they ain't do nothing but jump right in bed with the Romans and cashed in on the misery of blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, just like your Christian pastor today. You understand? Just like your religious leaders of these times, it was the same thing that happened during the time of Christ. You understand? Just like the evil, you understand, Salaki? As a matter of fact, let me pull that up. Go to First Maccabees, chapter 1, I think, in verse 11. Yeah, kind. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. You understand? These wicked men, they had no compassion over the children of Israel. They had no compassion over blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's why they wanted to come together with the Greeks that was oppressing us. As a matter of fact, Salakia, let me get into this a little bit. Let me jump down, right? I'm going to jump down to verse 20. And after that, Antiochus has smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof, and the table of showbread and the pouring vessels and the vials and the censers of gold and the veil and the crown and the gold ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled down. He took also the silver and the gold and precious vessels also. He took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. You understand? So Antiochus, right? This was a Greek. This was an oppressor. This was a Caucasian man. This was the devil that the Bible speaks of. He did exactly what your oppressor has done throughout history. He robbed us blind and unalived us and oppressed us. You understand? Then they taxed us year after year after year. You understand? And kept slaughtering us, right? Kept unaliving us, right? So, like, I'm going to go to the next chapter. First Maccabees chapter 2, and I'm going to jump down to verse 7. This is Mattathias, you understand? A brother who gave a damn about the children of Israel, a brother who had compassion on our people, a brother that's seen all of the atrocities that was being committed against the children of Israel, and he actually gave a damn. He didn't want to cash in on the damn money that these wicked Negroes that was in high places over the children of Israel was doing. He didn't want to do nothing like them. You understand? Because he cared about his nation. He cared about his family. You understand? He had compassion on the small children that was being unalived in the streets. He had compassion over the families that houses was being burned down. You understand? That was being robbed blind by these Caucasians. You understand? By these Greeks, that what they was called at the time. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me. Mattathias seeing all of this evil that was going on with the children of Israel. And he said, man, we destroyed. You understand? That's what woe means. We are destroyed. Woe means destruction. This brother was like, man, we are destroyed. He actually cared about what's going on with his people. Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Mattathias is sighing and crying for the children of Israel. You understand? As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull that precept real quick. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. I'll just read that real quick, Salaki. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. You understand? The Lord said, put a mark upon the men who have compassion over the children of Israel. You understand? I ain't your Christian pastor. He don't give a damn about what's going on. You understand? Your Christian pastor is talking about lock the doors. We need 20 bands. Oh, y'all don't hear me? Lock the doors. Your Christian pastor has compassion on his own pockets. You understand? He's not serving the Most High. He's serving his own lust. You understand? But this brother Mattathias, he cared about the children of Israel, just like Christ, just like the Lord does. You understand? But we got to get it together and have the same compassion that the Lord had on us in the truth, or us as a nation of people. We got to have that same compassion amongst each other. Christ said, how do you say that you love the Father, but you don't love your own brother that you see every day? I'm paraphrasing. That's what we lack as Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. We lack loving our own brothers and sisters that we see every day, and thinking that we gonna go past loving them straight to loving the Most High God, when that's illegal according to the scriptures. You understand? Salakia, verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. Mattathias is literally talking about abortion clinics. Our brothers being mowed down by racist police officers in the empire of the Greeks. This is the same thing that's going on right here in America. You understand? Verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Mattathias is not saying that we need to turn the other cheek to our enemies and our oppressors. He's saying all y'all nations profited off of the children of Israel and us being destroyed. I see all your liquor stores in our neighborhoods. Y'all own these damn gas stations. It's Chinese food spots in our neighborhoods. Meanwhile, you understand, you got Black, Latino, and Native American Indian businesses failing. Or they'll put up a front like Latinos really own that business, but it's Arabs that own the Issacharite stores out here in California for the most part. You understand? You got these East Indians that own crispy, crunchy chicken, and these are things that was created by Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? Right? Verse 10, once again, what nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All y'all profited off of the children of Israel being destroyed. All y'all got rich off of us. You understand? That's why when Christ returns, it's not just the oppressor that's going to be up under our feet. It's the Asians, it's the East Indians, it's the Polynesians. You understand? It's you Africans, right? Who love to try to, oh, brother, all of that type of stuff. Where the F was Nelson Mandela? You understand? When all of these atrocities was being committed against the children of Israel during the crack epidemic. That Hamite didn't come over here not one time and speak about us being unalived by the government. He ain't come out and say anything about the CIA pushing drugs in our neighborhoods to fund a goddamn war somewhere else. He didn't say nothing about that. You understand? Where were all you big head Negroes who think you should be a goddamn Muslim? Where was the imam? You understand? Where was Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, all of these Muslim countries and their leaders? Where the hell was they at? You understand? Why weren't they speaking up about the government planting drugs in our communities to destroy a whole goddamn nation of people? Why they not speaking up about mass incarceration and the reason why blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians are number one in the prison systems is because it's designed like this for the Caucasian to continue to keep us in slavery. You understand? By oppressing us in our neighborhoods and doing everything that he can to keep us up under his foot. Why they not coming out and speaking out about this? Because all of them have had a part in our kingdom. All of them have gotten of our spoils. You understand? Salakia. Verse 11. And all her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave. You understand? They robbed us blind. You understand? We're supposed to be a free people, right? But we are a bond slave. Verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. You understand? We don't have no temple no more. It's over with. You understand? Black people don't live in Jerusalem. Latinos don't live in Israel. You understand? We don't have any of our land, right? Verse 13. To what end therefore shall we live any longer? Mattathias was willing, he was ready to perish because he cared about what was going on with the whole nation, not just him and his family, not just what was going on with his own household. This brother sighed and cried for what happened to the whole nation. Verse 14. Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. You know what it takes for you to cry for your people. You know what it takes for you to be in a state of mind to where you don't even feel like getting dressed, like you in a state of mourning. This takes compassion on your own brothers and sisters. You understand? And the key thing about Mattathias and the compassion that he had on the children of Israel is that he didn't choose the oppressor's ways. He wasn't one of those wicked brothers in the first chapter and 11th verse that wanted to come together with the enemy, that wanted to come together with these heathens. You understand? He didn't want to do any of that, right? Salakia. We dropped that. Let me get Psalms 103. I'm going to start at verse 8. Book of Psalms, chapter 103 and verse 8. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. You understand? That's how the Most High is with the children of Israel. He merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. You understand? Our people, we have to make sure that we understand that we built in the image of the Most High. You understand? And we got to understand to take on Salaki, to take on the characteristics of our God versus taking on the characteristics of the oppressor. The characteristics of our God is mercy, grace. You understand? Being slow to anger, being plenteous in mercy, having compassion. You understand? Being caring. You understand the characteristics of your oppressor. You understand the devil that the Bible speaks of is you understand being scornful, being compassionless, right? Being always angry. You understand? Being, just being diabolical in his endeavors to wreak havoc on the whole goddamn planet Earth. You understand? We can't be like that because that ain't how our God is, right? Verse 9. He will not always chide. That word chide means to scold or to be, to be ready to render judgment, right? So like, let me get some more synonyms on that word chide, right? Rebuke, you understand? Criticize, right? Things of that nature, you understand? But he's not always going to do that. Neither will he keep his anger forever. The Lord ain't always angry, you understand? That's why the Lord brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. You understand? Because the Lord is not always angry. You understand? Verse 10. He have not dealt with us. He have not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarding us according to our iniquities. You understand? The Lord is not going to always punish the children of Israel. He's going to be gracious and mercy to us. This is why the scripture saying, and I'm paraphrasing, the Lord chastises who he loves. You understand? Right? And I'm going to keep reading. Verse 11, for as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy towards them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. This is the Lord having, like, as far as the east is from the west, you understand that great amount of space, that's how far he's going to remove our transgressions from us. You understand? Meaning he's going to forget about it. You understand? When we do right. You understand? When we choose to have compassion amongst each other and in compassion and in having compassion amongst each other, we're going to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because Christ said the law hangs on these two things. Love the Most High with all your heart and love your neighbor as you love yourself. You understand? Having compassion on your neighbor. Salakia. Verse 13. Like as a father pitieth his children, so Yahweh pitieth them that fear him. You understand? A man that has to discipline his child, he's going to have pity on him one day. You understand? He's going to have pity on him at some point in time. And that's how the Lord is with the children of Israel. You understand? The Lord is going to have pity on the children of Israel because the Lord has compassion on the children of Israel. He's not evil, you understand, in how he deals with his chosen people. Salakia. Go to 2 Corinthians 1. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed be the Most High, even the Father of our King, Yahushua Mashiach, the Father of mercies and the Most High of all comfort, or the power of all comfort. You understand? The Lord is the God of mercies. He's the Father of mercies and the power of all comfort, who comforted us in our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. You understand? That's self-explanatory. You understand? The Lord is not the Lord does not want to punish the children of Israel. Now he will, you understand, due to us being disobedient, you understand, due to us want to be like our oppressor, he will, but that's not in his nature to chastise the children of Israel as is to have mercy on us. You understand? Or for him to have compassion on us. You understand? So like you. Go to First Peter, the 3rd chapter. This is the book of First Peter chapter 3. Likewise, ye wives be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. You understand? That's heavy, right? The Bible does not tell a woman to disrespect her. I don't want to say disrespect, to not be kind and obedient to her husband. The Bible does not tell a woman that she should not subject herself to her husband. The Bible does not tell a woman that she's supposed to be a goddamn dragon to her husband. It says subject yourself to your husband. If any obey not the word, meaning if her husband don't obey the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Let's say a sister is in the truth, right? And she keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And she just the sweetest angel to her husband. And her husband understands that, damn, my wife is subjected to me and compassionate on my well-being because of the truth, because of the Bible. Man, let me look into that and see what's really going on with that Bible. You understand? A brother can be won over and brought into the truth by a woman that is kind and compassionate on her husband. You understand? Like, you can't be a sister claiming that you in the truth, you understand, and you disobey and disrespect your husband day in and day out. You always snapping at him. You always got an attitude with him. He got another woman that he's dealing with, or you find a female's number in his phone. That's not how it's supposed to go. You understand? We're supposed to have compassion on each other because the Most High gave us Christ, his favorite son, to die for us because he had compassion on us. You understand? And not only did he give Christ to die for us because the Most High had compassion on the children of Israel, but he also gave the perfect example in Christ to show us how to be compassionate with each other. Verse 2, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. You understand? When you see a sister that's discreet in her conversation, you understand, and she fears the Most High, this can win over a brother that otherwise would not even be in the truth. Verse 3, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing gold or of putting on of apparel, right? This ain't saying that a sister can't dress up and look good. No, what this is saying is this is not what a woman should be about. A woman shouldn't be about vanity. You understand? A woman shouldn't be focused on wearing nice clothes and you know, doing her hair and a nice hairstyle, or wearing gold and ornaments to make herself look beautiful. She shouldn't be worried about that more than she's worried about the type of character that she has. A sister's supposed to be chaste, discreet. You understand? A compassionate sister. You understand? A sister who actually cares about somebody else other than her own self. You understand? Not these sisters that America has bred, you understand, for the most part, of the daughters of Zion. You understand? Verse 4, but let it be the hidden man of heart in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and a quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God, great price. You understand? What's more precious, you understand, to the Most High than you putting on nice clothes and jewelry and all of that. It's to have a meek and quiet spirit. You understand? And having a mind that's not corruptible. You understand? That's way more precious than having nice clothes and nice clothes and gold and things of that nature. You understand? Salaki. Verse 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy woman also, who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. Back in the day, you understand? In the women of the days of old, right? They adorn themselves by being in subjection to their own husbands. You understand? This was what was looked at as, how can I put this? This was more important back in the day than what a sister wore outwardly. What she wore inwardly, you understand, her spirit, what type of sister she was to her husband, that was more important back in the days. You understand? Verse 6, and it's going to give you an example. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. You understand? You got sisters right now that's fake woke. I like to call it fake woke. You got sisters right now that's fake woke. You understand? That's, if he gonna have more than one wife, then he better be able to take care of me and whoop all this type of stuff. Man, look, this nigga Abraham lived in a tent. You understand? And had more than one wife, right? As a matter of fact, Sarah bought him another wife, and she still called him Lord. You understand? Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are. Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indian sisters, you need to learn from your foremother, Sarah. You are her daughters. And she called our forefather Abraham Lord, even though he lived in a goddamn tent. He ain't living in no damn mansion. You understand? His brother lived in a tent. You understand? Went through all of the trials and tribulations of living amongst another people that would have otherwise unalived him just to take his goddamn woman. Yeah, she called him Lord and gave him another woman, Salakia. You understand? As long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. Same thing with the brothers. You understand? You have to be a brother that's compassionate on your rib. You understand? She cook you a great meal. Oh, thanks, babe. She go to work for you. Oh, man, I appreciate what you're doing for this household. You understand? And helping our household run how it's supposed to run. Yeah, you're supposed to give honor to your wife as unto the weaker vessel. Give her the honor that she deserves when she does things that are honorable. You understand? But our brothers need to understand this. You're not supposed to honor a woman that's a 304. You're not supposed to honor a sister, you understand, that's, doing all of the things that's against being subjected unto her husband. You understand? You're not supposed to honor that, right? Sisters, you're not supposed to honor a nigga that's a drug dealer. You're not supposed to honor a brother who is a whoremonger. You understand? A brother that lives life like his oppressor. You're not supposed to honor that. You understand? And in honoring that type of stuff gives off the notion that you don't have compassion, on our brothers and sisters that this brother or sister may run over to get where they want in life. You understand? Or do something evil to another brother or sister because they don't give a damn about what they got going on in their own situation. They only care about their own self because of lack of compassion, right? Verse 7 from the top. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Yeah, we are heirs together of the grace of life. You understand? There is no kingdom of heaven without Black, Latino, Native American men, women, and children. You understand? We are all heirs you understand, to the grace of life, right? Verse 8, finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful and courteous. Be pitiful, be courteous. You understand? We got to be of one like mind. You understand? This is a one body precept. You understand? Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful and courteous. You understand? Any illegal activity that you partake in for monetary gain, you're going to lack all of these characters, whether you're a scammer, a pimp, a drug dealer, you understand, somebody that's just a selfish, evil bastard in the church. Anything that you choose to align yourself with that's not honorable according to the scriptures, you're going to lack brotherhood. You're going to lack being pitiful or being courteous. Verse 9, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing. You understand? Somebody do you wrong, you're not supposed to try to get back in at them. You understand? The scripture says, vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. You don't want to rob the Lord of his glory, of him taking his revenge, because it ain't going to end well for you, or railing for railing. Don't sit up there and criticize a brother or backbite a brother or a sister just because you hear that they doing the same thing to you. You understand? You ever heard the saying, two wrongs don't make a right? That's right here in the scriptures. You understand? But contrary-wise, blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, and that ye inherit a blessing. For he that love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile. You understand? If you love life, don't sit back and slander a brother. You understand? Don't sit back and speak evil of people. You understand? Keep guile from out of your lips, right? Let him eschew evil and do good. You're supposed to hate evil and do good. Let him seek peace and ensue it. For the Lord, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. You understand? You lack compassion. You understand? You lack being righteous. The Lord is against you. You understand? He won't hear your prayers. But if you are compassion, but if you have compassion, if you are righteous, you understand? Or if you are pitiful to your people, if you are courteous, do you understand the love of brotherhood? You understand? Then if you do, then this is when the Lord is going to hear your prayers, right? Verse 13, and who is he that will harm you if you be followers of that which is good? You understand? Who gonna harm you if you righteous or if you followers of good? You understand? Salakia. With that being said, Salakia, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. The water to everybody for tapping in. Young man DK, Uragabar, the water surfer tapping in. Nazamanat, the water sis for tapping in. I appreciate you. Y'all by Shimmy shout to the Slacky. Y'all by Shimmy shout rock a thumb to the brothers. Y'all Shamal a thumb by Shimmy shout to the sisters. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to class. And let's make sure that we keep compassion for the children of Israel. That way the Lord can look down upon us and have respect unto us. You understand? Shalom, Israel.